Today I am pleased to introduce our Founders Day guest speaker, Associate Professor Kate Fitz-Gibbon. Kate Fitz-Gibbon was educated at Lauriston Girls School for 12 years. In her final year, she received full colours, was a prefect, and received a Distinction Award for Drama. She was also involved in track and field, house tennis, house netball, house chess, and was a member of the First Four as well as vice captain of boats. Kate is the director of the Monash Gender and Family Violence Prevention Centre and associate professor in criminology in the Faculty of Arts at Monash University. She also holds affiliated research appointments with the School of Law and Social Justice at the University of Liverpool and the Research Centre on Violence at West Virginia University. Following her graduation from Lauriston in 2004, Kate completed a Bachelor of Arts majoring in criminology and psychology at Monash University. This was followed by an honours year in criminology. Kate has since completed a PhD in criminology and a Master's of Human Rights Law. Kate is a leading national and internationally recognised scholar in the field of family violence, femicide, criminal justice responses to violence against women, and the impact of criminal law reform in Australia and internationally. The findings of her research have been published widely, including in books and learning journals. And she has presented at national and international criminology conferences in the UK, USA, Europe, and New Zealand. Kate has advised on homicide law reform and family violence reviews in several Australian and international jurisdictions. In 2018, Kate was appointed to the inaugural Board of Directors of Respect Victoria, and previously, Kate was chair of the Barwon Centre Against Sexual Assault Governance Board and a member of Step Back Think Board of Directors. Please welcome Kate Fitz-Gibbon to the lectern.
Thank you very much, Georgie, for that incredibly generous introduction. Thank you very much to everyone for having me here. It is an incredible honour to join you today to celebrate Lauriston's Founders Day 100 years on. Thank you to Principal Just, to school captains Emily and Meg, current students, teachers, old Lauristonians and current parents for allowing me this time to join and speak with you. I'd also like to begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathering, both in the hall and downstairs, and to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students that are here with us today, and to acknowledge how much we have to learn from the culture and the heritage of the original custodians of our land. As I prepared to speak with you today, I reflected on how much I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when the Irving sisters, Margaret and Lillian, begun their conversations to build an independent girls' school. Reading through the history of Lauriston over the last couple of weeks, I understand that they set out to build a school that would provide education to young women in a way that would empower them, achieve academic excellence, ensure sporting involvement, and uphold the importance of women living purposeful and fulfilling lives. I wonder if they were aware how momentous their vision was. To give you a sense, the year was 1901, perhaps even earlier when they first began those planning discussions. And it would be remiss not to think about how significant this was in terms of women's place in Australia at the time. They imagined a school focused on empowerment, focused on women living the fullest lives possible, at a time when women were not allowed to drive a car, to vote, or to open their own bank account. Indeed, on the day when Lauriston welcomed those first 12 students, it would still be 12 years before an Australian woman won an Olympic gold medal, 21 years before a woman would be elected to any Australian parliament, 27 years before Australia had its first female pilot, 65 years before the first Australian female judge, and 110 years before a woman would hold the position of Prime Minister of Australia. I list these to emphasise the significance of the vision of the Irving sisters. But it's also not lost on me that the list shows how much has been achieved for women and girls in the 120 years since Lauriston was first established. And arguably, we now have never had so many great examples of women's leadership globally. At a time when the value of leading with integrity, honesty and clarity has never been so apparent, Jacinta Ardern has shone as an example of leadership during the global pandemic. In the first weeks of 2021, Kamala Harris first, and then more recently US Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, have been held up as shining lights in what's been a disparaging time for women in the United States. And then closer to home in Australia, towards the end of last year, Natasha Stott-Despoja was elected to the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Violence Against Women, where she will signal and champion our country's commitment to ending violence against women and girls. We also have incredible examples of young women's leadership. Most recently, Grace Tame, the new Australian of the Year, Taylor Harris, the AFL Women's Superstar and advocate for equality in sport, and of course 22-year-old Amanda Gorman, the brilliant young poet laureate who performed at this year's American presidential inauguration. And if you haven't listened to Amanda's words, then I would strongly encourage you to do so. Women's leadership matters. It's important to look up to the leaders you admire, and it's important to learn from the acts of those that you do not. I felt spoilt for choice during my time at Lauriston in terms of daily examples of women's leadership and excellence. We were exposed to these, we learnt from these, and we mirrored these. And it's been amazing in the 15 years since finishing Year 12 to watch my peers excel and lead in their chosen fields. And that's really where I'd like to focus my speech to you today, on achievement, leadership, and the importance of following your passion. To do so, I'm going to share with you a secret. As I sat in the very same seats, and I did wonder if I was preparing this whether they would have changed, but they are the very same seats. As a Year 7 student, a Year 10 Howker returnee, and then later as a Year 12 school prefect, I knew exactly what I was going to do in my life. I was going to be an actress. Ideally an internationally successful one, likely movies and TV, but I don't think I'd ruled out theatre either. In that sense, I threw myself into all the opportunities that Lauriston had to offer, but I was squarely focused on theatre studies and drama. But I did rowing, athletics, Duke of Edinburgh, debating, I studied history, revolutions and literature, but at the core, I had my path sorted. Following Year 12, I embarked on an arts degree at Monash University with a double major in drama and psychology. In my first year, I took the obligatory subjects for that, Psychology 101, Introduction to Theatre Performance, Film Studies, and I had one elective. I'd always been interested in criminology. I read a lot of true crime books, who doesn't? And so I signed up for the criminology first year elective. And herein lies the confession. One you've probably guessed from the fact that I wasn't introduced today as an Academy Award-winning actress. But that one elective unit grabbed my attention. So in my second semester, I took 2 electives in criminology. And then in the second year, I changed my major to criminology. And whilst not quite knowing what career path that would lead me on, I have to say I don't quite remember the exact moment when I decided I wasn't going to be an actress, but I do know that I've never looked back from that. Upon completing my Bachelor of Arts degree, I was offered a place in the Criminology Honours program. And with that opportunity to design, carry out and write up a small research project of my own. I was thinking here of some of the Year 12 students who are likely about to embark on their IB extended essays. And you're either joining me in the excitement of writing up your own piece of work, or perhaps you're shuddering at the thought that you may ever have to do that again. But for me, that was the point at which I realised this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to research. And not for the sake of spending long days reading or writing long pieces of academic prose, although there's definitely been those days, but rather because it dawned on me that knowledge is power. And if I wanted to change a small slice of the world, gaining that knowledge, indeed generating it myself, would be my power. And in many ways, that point of realisation has focused me over the last 10 years. Following honours, I completed my PhD in criminology and later my Masters in human rights law. And since then, I've worked as an academic. The roles that I've held have allowed me the time and the focus to contribute to preventing domestic and family violence in Australia and internationally, and to improving the ways in which our justice system and our community responds to men's violence against women. Building knowledge has allowed me to advocate for change and to push governments and policy makers to make the change we need. At one end, my job focuses on preventing the loss of women's lives. In Australia each week, on average, 1 woman is killed by a male intimate partner. Over the last 10 years, I've worked in Australia and England in particular to try and better understand how we can intervene earlier to save these women's lives. My work is also focused on improving gender equality, as we know that that will lead to a reduction in violence. As a daughter, a sister, and a mum to one girl and 2 boys, that one is a personal as well as a professional project. My daughter Matilda is 3.5 years old. She's a fierce young woman, and she has absolutely no sense that her twin brother should be entitled to anything more than her, or that one day in her work he may be rewarded for the same job more than she is. And nor should she be aware of that. At 3 years old, it's my job to nurture her and to protect her from that until she's old enough to hold it and to champion for herself. The need to achieve gender equality is one that's come to my attention only since leaving Lauriston. And I've been reflecting on that a bit over the last week and why that is. And in some ways, it's probably a reflection of mainstream progress, in that the last 15 years, these issues are far more visible now. But also, and I think this is to Lauriston's credit, it's far more than that. When I was at Lauriston, I never experienced any extracurricular activity, any subject or class in which I believed that what women could do was capped. The level of achievement was open to you to dream. Also notable is the range of opportunities available to students at Lauriston, and you've already heard from the school captains how momentous that is. I was really happy to read in a recent Lauriston letter that the aviation program still continues, which was first started when I was at school under Julie Borshman. Women make up 5% of all pilot positions in Australia. I love that programs like this are available at Lauriston, giving girls the earliest opportunity possible to break down those barriers and to achieve that dream if that's the one that they hold. I've also watched on with great interest to see how Lauriston has embedded STEM into the curriculum at all levels. This is also an incredibly significant achievement. The beneficiaries of the opportunities like the Fab Lab will drive an increase in women's representation in STEM fields. The most recent statistics in Australia show that women account for only 17% of all people in Australia that have a STEM qualification, and 14% of STEM qualified workforce. Representation matters. Children's rights activist Marianne Edelman has often been quoted as saying, "You can't be what you can't see." And that really resonates for me here. For me, Lauriston made visible all opportunities. And I encourage all of you to do the same, to go out with your chosen interests, opportunities and career paths, and to lead by example, to make them visible to others that are watching. As you make your way through senior school and embark on VCE or IB, I truly believe that you sitting in this room are in a privileged position to upskill yourselves to knock down any barrier that gender inequality may present. I can't pass up the opportunity here to say something specific about Halqua and the remarkable vision of Ruth Titterman. I appreciate that probably about half of you have already been to Halqua and half of you have that ahead of you. And I honestly don't know who I'm more excited for. The returning Halqua graduates who now have this whole new set of skills, independence, resilience, determination that you can put to use. Or for those of you that haven't yet gone and have that ahead of you. It's what's distinct about Lauriston, but it's also what so clearly builds on the founder's vision of creating a school that would empower young girls to live the fullest lives possible. Whether it be through the day-to-day challenge of being away from home and living with your peers, completing a 6-day hike, a bike challenge up Marsbar Hill, or the solo overnighter, Halqua brings to life so much of what the Irving sisters envisaged 120 years ago. I didn't know it at the time, but the self-confidence I gained from a year of discovery in the Halqua bush, the debating skills that I learnt through school debating, the competitive drive you get from rowing regattas on the Barwon and Ngambie rivers, speech skills that I gained in house drama and the school play, these all prepared me for not the acting experience that I thought I might have, but for the career I've earned. In my own experience is anything to go by, the opportunities that are the most exciting and memorables are the ones that you don't predict at the outset, but the ones that your passion allows you to follow. So while I haven't found my place in Hollywood, in many ways, my career's exceeded anything I could have imagined sitting in these very same seats. Some highlights for me have been interviewing the Lord Chief Justice at the English Royal Courts of Justice, spending time as a visiting scholar at Oxford University, giving evidence in Parliament in South Australia and New South Wales, hearing my first book cited in the High Court of Australia, and driving changes to homicide laws across our country. In 2015, I was incredibly fortunate to be awarded a fellowship from the Winston Churchill Trust to travel to England, Scotland, Canada and the US to examine innovative legal responses to intimate partner violence. I was awarded that fellowship from Victoria's first female governor, Linda Dessau, and over a 5-week period I met with judges, members of Parliament, advocates and community leaders. Most recently, at the beginning of last year, I was invited to brief the Australian Governor-General, David Hurley, on how COVID-19 and the associated restrictions would impact family violence across the Australian community. These experiences have exceeded anything I imagined for my early career. And I phrase it in that way because in many ways, at 33 years old, I feel like I'm just gathering steam. I'm energised by the thought of what's still to come. But I will say that I don't think these experiences came about purely by chance. The greatest mentor in my life has at different points of my career reminded me, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And it's a saying that's really served me well. Upon finishing Lauriston, I studied at university for 7 years full-time. I then completed my master's part-time while having 3 young children. And I've worked hard since, often on weekends and sometimes at night. School requires hard work. This applies whether you're beginning your Year 7 journey, returning to Year 10 and the normality of city life after Hauqua, returning to school following the very unusual year of COVID, or about to embark on your VCE and IB studies. But with hard luck, you're undoubtedly generating your luck for what comes next. And as you begin 2021, I hope you'll hold on to this saying like I have. My stories and the experiences that I've had are merely one example, and one I feel incredibly indulgent to be able to reflect on with you today. You'll all find your own spaces over the remainder of your schooling, into university if that's the path you take, overseas journeys once the world settles, and beyond into your chosen career paths. If I could impart one thing from my experience, it would be to encourage you to follow your passion, to find the it factor for you, the problem, the possibility, the opportunity that excites you as much as it challenges you, because both are important. For me, to be able to work every day in my chosen field is a privilege and a driver. So I'd like to finish by coming full circle. I began by imagining what it would be like to have been the Irving sisters, drawing up the plans for Lauriston Girls School. But I'd like to finish now by imagining what they would think if they were in this room today. I think they'd be astounded, not only by the gravity of the progress that has been achieved, but by the immensity of what Lauriston Girls School now offers to every girl that comes through its doors. And not to ignore our guests or staff, but to finish by speaking directly to you, the Lauriston students today. Grab every opportunity while you're at Lauriston, because you have so many. Embrace your challenges, because when you look back on them, you may remember that they were a bit hard at the time, but you'll absolutely value what you took away from them. In many ways, you're in a bubble, the very best kind of bubble that you can be in as a young woman carving out your space in life. Your bubble has been designed in those very early days by the Irving sisters, and then it's been further built upon by everyone who's come since. It values excellence, it prioritises women's empowerment, and it gives you the skills you need to achieve your ambitions. You'll work hard, but you're going to get very lucky in doing so. And you're going to join a legacy that I'm incredibly proud to be part of with my mum and my sister of 120 years of Lauriston Girls. Thank you very much for having me here today.